You're listening to Election Talk with Attorney Carrie Harper on Radio Free 102.3 KJLH.
Okay, we're back. If it's Tuesday, we're at Election Talk. Up into the election, we want you to vote. While the deadline to register might be October, at the end of October, I say if you miss that deadline, vote anyway. It will be a conditional ballot, but still do it. If you think you have a little felony situation, still vote. Ask for a conditional ballot, because if you've fulfilled your debt to society, then your right to vote has been reinstated. And you can vote against or for someone who has a felony, 34 of them. Next up, we have LaShae Henderson, who's running for seat 97 for the Los Angeles Superior Court. We had her opponent here on the first show, Sharon Ransom, who was a deputy public defender. Now, Miss LaShae Henderson is one of the Justice Leagues. What is it called, Miss Henderson? Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Good morning. So originally I was campaigning with the Defenders of Justice, and after the primary I decided to campaign on my own, but we are supporting one another. We're a team, and you know, I love them, and I just decided I wanted to do some things differently and campaign on my own, but we both support each other, and I'm excited for them, and we still all have the same passion for justice.
Now, you've been a lawyer over 25 years.
For 18, well, let's say 19 years, and then I was a public defender for 18 years.
Yes. Now, but you are not a public defender anymore. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
So in between winning the primary and coming here today, you decided to leave the public defender's office?
No, I resigned in 2023, and I am an adjunct professor at Pepperdine. And I also work with churches. I do consultations. I do coaching for youth, and I work in the community. So I do a little bit of everything. But I left before I had started campaigning.
Okay, so on the ballot, though, it says Deputy Public Defender.
Yes.
Why is that?
Because my resignation was in 2023, and according to the rules, if you retire at a certain period of time, you can still use that particular title. And the majority of my career was with the Public Defender's Office, so I feel like it accurately represents my work, my passion, and what I've done over the years.
Okay, so why did you leave the Public Defender's Office?
Well, because I wanted to expand. You know, I worked in that office for many years, enjoyed it, and it's just a wonderful thing to be able to step out on your own and expand what you're doing. So that's why I decided.
It's a little bit risky, a little like jumping the shark, like mid-campaign to say, okay, psych, I'm not really doing that job that I had on the ballot. I'm doing something different, no?
Well, no, I feel like on my website, every time I talk to people, I'm very transparent about the fact that I was a public defender for 18 years, what I'm doing now, that I love working with students, so that I work in the community. So I'm very transparent about that. And it's on my website, so anyone can look on my website and find out what I'm doing right now. And I've always been transparent about my journey.
Okay. And the singing. Now, let's talk about the voicemail. You know, during the primaries, I made just a little bit of fun out of your public. It's a public outgoing voicemail message,
yes,
right?
Yes, it is.
Anybody can call.
Yes.
What is your number? That's public. You said it was public, right? Or no? You have to give it if you don't want to.
I gave it to you.
Oh, okay. My bad. I was getting ready to blow it up, too.
No.
Maybe we could just call it, because you are, in fact, singing My Little Sunshine on your outgoing voicemail message.
Yes. It's to encourage people. You know, I think positivity is important, and reminding people to smile.
I was smiling the first time I called, but when it took me a few times to get through to you and I had to listen to it no, I'm just kidding.
My family complains about that. They're like, your messages are too long.
You really want to make people feel better. You're going to beat them into submission. What do you think you're going to bring to the bench? You're going to bring this levity to the bench? And
well, you know, what's important to me, you know, as a public defender, I have seen cases where judges miss the mark. They, you know, are so focused on the law and how they see an individual that they don't take the time sometimes to analyze who's in front of them. And I want to move from people being a number in the system to being a human being and look at their story. You know, they have something in the law called mitigation, where you look at the person's background and you weigh out what cases they have had in the past. If they have any record at all, do they qualify for any programs? Do they qualify for early dismissal or expungement or something that would benefit them in the future? So the goal is to motivate people to change. And I won't be cracking any jokes up there, but I will be inspiring people to make a change, that they're important, that they're valuable, and that their story matters. And when you treat people with value, they respond differently.
And it's okay to crack a few jokes, right?
I mean,
not
a
when
few,
you're
but
sending them to jail for life, but
right, not anything serious. But I can be lighthearted when the right time comes.
Right, and we're 70 days till the election. And if anyone wants to call in and speak with any of the judicial candidates we have on today or any Tuesday, you can call 310-520-KGLH, 310-520-KGLH. So with regard to your prior career at the public defender's office, what section were you in?
Oh, I did many things. I've represented people with misdemeanors, charged with felonies. I've done civil contempt cases. I've also worked on racial justice motions. I have done, juvenile court, which I love. I love working with the kids because you get the opportunity to mentor, speak into their lives, and also help them make a change and hopefully shape them for the future.
And you can see the results of it sometimes, right?
Yes, absolutely. And they respond well to it. You know, so a lot of times you're giving out advice to parents, to children, and people want to make a change. They're nervous, they're scared, and it's an opportunity for them to turn things around. I've seen parents come in who haven't been taking their kids to school, and once they see that their child is being charged with a 601 charge or 602.
Tell the folks what 601 is.
601 is when your child hasn't been attending school. And so they have to come into court and explain why. And so the judge will put the case over and track whether the kid is going to school, what's going on at home, provide services. And if they do well, usually the case gets dismissed.
Okay. And the 602?
602 refers more to when a child is placed home on probation. So they would actually be charged with an actual offense, like vandalism, theft, one of those cases. And if they're put on probation, then they're considered 602.
And what do you feel the biggest problem with the justice system is now currently?
Wow. I think that, well, here's the thing. We've made strides as far as the laws. So the laws are better. I think now we have to remember to incorporate change in our cases and make sure that people have opportunities to rehabilitate and that we're not just focused on sentencing or harshness, but on helping people get their life back on track. So I think it's important. I think we need more sensitivity, more diversity in the bench, and we need people that really care about the communities and are focused on rebuilding and connecting people together. You know, I want to see more community involvement. I want to see, there's a lot of pastors who can mentor. There's a lot of groups that are already doing beautiful things in the community, and if they could come in and assist people get their life back on track, I think that's the most ideal thing that we can do for our citizens, so they won't come back to the system again.
Okay. Now, you were raised in Inglewood, right?
Well, my mother actually was a court reporter here at the courthouse, but I grew up in South Central LA on Gage and Normandy. But I was here all the time in Inglewood shopping, and because my mother was in court.
And your opponent is local, too. Now, here we have an interesting situation where two black females are running against each other for judge.
Yes.
One, Sharon Ransom is a deputy DA, and you were a public defender.
Correct.
Now, who entered the seat first, and who chose to run against who?
Well, I was the first one to put my name in for seat 97.
So Miss Ransom chose you as the opponent. She jumped in your race.
Yeah, but it was towards the end. Like the filing period was like November 12th, and then she came in.
Now, Victor Avila ran unopposed.
Yes.
And he's now a judge because he ran unopposed.
I noticed that.
And there were some races where up to 5 people were in one race.
I know.
And we know nothing about Mr. Avila because he didn't have to submit to a background check, correct?
Correct.
Anything you want to say to Jerry Abels, who runs the LA County Bar Association rating system, about how one person gets investigated and others don't?
Well, I think that there's 2 different issues there. Depending on what seat number you put your name in for, that's who runs against you. Now, as far as the LA County bar ratings, I have seen some people rate it well, and I've seen some people treat it very harshly. So I do think that the criteria for the ratings does need to be reevaluated.
Well, what I was speaking to is that when you are unopposed, you're not even being rated. You have no rating. So no one knows if Mr. Avila was on his way out of the DA's office because of something or getting ready to get a promotion. So what I was saying is that any thought, and you don't have to answer that because you're currently running a campaign here, but just thought I'd ask.
Oh, well, I think it's important for anyone that's on the ballot for us to have information about who they are.
Yes. And I see we have a couple of calls coming in. So, we have Miss Molly Bale. Would you guys mind taking a few calls here, Miss Henderson?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, good morning, Miss Molly Bell. How are you?
God bless morning. Can you hear me?
I can, loud and clear.
Okay, reparations in memory of our ancestors. Before I ask my question, I just want to thank you, Attorney Kerry Harper, for having Felonious on earlier. You were the one that really, I had a chance to meet him when you had them in Pasadena one time, the whole family. So thank you for that, doing that. Now, my question is, since our new nominee for the president of the United States is Kamala Harris, who was a public California state attorney, and she was a prosecutor, for the state. I usually don't vote for prosecutors. Is there a real difference in being a defense attorney and being a prosecuting attorney? And if it is, can you guys jump back and forth? I'll listen to your comments off the air. And Attorney Kerry Harper, thank you so very much for taking my call.
Well, thank you, Miss Molly Bell. And Mr. Floyd is still on the line, and we're going to get back to him after we allow the judicial candidates to answer that question. So Miss Molly Bell wants to know the difference. So the prosecutors, Miss Molly Bell, they lock folks up, and the defense attorneys, they defend them. And the prosecutor's job is to represent all of the people in the state of California. The defense attorney's job is to zealously represent the one person that is being accused. So the prosecutor's job is also in the interest of the defense attorney, not just to lock him up, but to say, we're not going to seek to do that, or we're not going to charge. Anything the candidates, you guys would like to add?
I was going to say, too, it's important to look at the prosecutor's track record, who they are, what their integrity is, and you're looking at what they have done and how they perform, what their values are, to see who they are. And the same thing for a defense attorney that's running.
Okay. And you bring that up, and is there anything that you want to say about your opponent's track record? Because you actually have 2 more minutes left on your equal time, so I'll allow you to go ahead and do that.
Well, no, I wanted to just share my background and experience, if that's...
Sure. I asked Ms. Ransom to give something good about you and something that she didn't think was that great about you when she was here. So I'm going to give you the same opportunity, but you use those 2 minutes how you want.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I know that Ms. Ransom and I both have worked in the court system for a long time. And so I don't know her very well. So I would say, as a defense attorney, you have a lot of experience being under pressure because you have a lot of clients and you deal with a lot of different things that come at you because you have a large caseload. And as a public defender, you see a lot and you deal a lot with the public. And so I have a lot more experience dealing with people firsthand. I don't have anything necessarily negative to say about her, but I do feel that as a public defender, you work under heavy pressure and you have to perform and deal with a lot of people. And so it creates patience, it creates discipline, and you have to passionately fight for people. And so I think it's amazing to be able to come to the bench and bring diversity even in the background, because traditionally there's been more district attorneys that have been selected as judges. So to get the opportunity to have more public defenders and people from various backgrounds, I think brings diversity to the bench as well.
Okay, well said. I mean, you seem so nice. But heavy is the head. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. How are you going to feel when you have to drop the hammer on folks? You're going to have to put some folks under the jail.
Well, people ask me that all the time. But as a woman, you learn to wear many hats. You learn to be nurturing when you need to be. And then I know how to be firm when I need to be firm, because in my line of work, you represent all type of people. And sometimes you deal with hardened people who you have to correct and set boundaries with. And I've had to do that as a public defender. So I am able to be kind, and I'm also able to be firm when it's needed.
Okay. All right.